Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. All right, so I learned something new about my new home city of Waco that's something I'm just going to have to deal with from time to time. Every year around this time of year, the city of Waco has an infestation. I'm not even going to call it an infestation, it's a plague. It's a plague of crickets. I've noticed for the last couple days or so, I've had a couple of crickets in the house. It hasn't really been that big of a deal because the cats are natural cricket hunters. They knew how to deal with the occasional cricket in California, and I rarely had problems with them in the house because the cats would be on top of it. Anything moving around in the house, boom, they're on top of it. They're going to play with it, and then they're going to eat it. Well, they can't keep up with what's going on here. And last night, it really came to a head, and apparently it's something I'm just going to have to deal with from time to time. Um, they were just getting into the house faster than I could keep up with them. I couldn't even figure out where they were coming from. I actually did just figure it out right now, at least one of the places they came from, because I was just looking, I was hearing the sounds of crickets in the house, but I couldn't find them. And I realized that one of the dome lights inside the house had crickets inside the dome. I'll show you that here in a second. And but it was really weird because I actually first became aware that something was really weird with the cricket population yesterday when I went to the grocery store, because in the area where they store all the shopping carts, just along the wall there, it was just thick with crickets. I mean, I'm not talking dozens of crickets or hundreds of crickets, but thousands, tens of thousands. Can you hear that? Yeah, that's in my apartment right now. Yeah, they're just going crazy in there. And then when I got home last night, it was even worse then, because apparently I've been doing a little research on it, and apparently one of the things that the crickets are attracted to at night are bright lights. And unfortunately, right outside my apartment is a big floodlight that just kind of lights up the whole quad area there, and it was just thick with crickets on the walls. Like I said, not dozens, not hundreds, not thousands in this case, but tens of thousands of them. And one of the things that's really bad about the crickets in Texas versus the ones in California is that the ones in Texas can fly. So the second you open up the door, boom, it's just foo, foo, foo. They're all coming in at you. And I couldn't keep up with them. I eventually ended up spraying an entire can of Raid around the front door, both inside and outside the door, to try and keep them under control. I had to actually keep the cats in their bedroom last night and lock them in there because I didn't want them eating bugs that had been poisoned if they got in, overnight. And when I opened up the door this morning, there were literally hundreds and hundreds of dead crickets on my stoop or within about 20 feet of my door. So they'd obviously gotten into the bug spray and poisoned and were killed off over the night. But I just barely scratched the surface on it. Now, I think what I'm going to try and do, I've already talked to the landlord about it, and she's, really apologetic about it and said, yeah, that's just something that happens every year, and you just have to learn to live with it. But I think she's going to try and get a pest control person out here just to spray the area immediately under where that floodlight is. Maybe if we can kill a whole bunch of them off, it'll be a little less of an issue every night. And then of course I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy a few cans of Raid so that I can continue spraying my stoop every night until this infestation, this swarm, this plague is over, and we'll get past that. But I also noticed, one of the things I noticed was that there's about a 6-inch gap on the front door where there isn't some weather stripping, and I think that may be where they're getting in. It's just a little tiny, maybe 1/4 inch wide gap, but I would bet you that's one of the places they're getting in. But I also wonder if they're like coming in through the air conditioners, and they're getting up into the attic perhaps, and then coming through little holes, drilled into the ceiling, for light fixtures and for fans and all that stuff. Because all that stuff, that's a source of entry. And like I said, there's 2 of them over here in the dome of the light that I heard them cricking, I heard them making their sound, and I looked up. It's like, oh yeah, there they are. That's how they're getting in. So I don't know. That's just part of the fun, I guess, of living in Texas. Something I'm gonna have to deal with. Now, I was halfway thinking about going out last night and getting some footage of this. I didn't do it, but I think I will go out tonight and I will include some of that footage so you can actually see what I'm dealing with. Like I said, I'm a little leery about giving too much information that could be used to figure out where I live. But I think if I frame my shots up well, I can relay what's going on without really showing too much and giving away too much. But that was just really interesting. I kind of wanted to share that with you because it's just something I'm going to have to learn to live with here in Texas. I guess I could probably control it a little bit more when I get into my own place, because I guess one of the things that attracts them the most is light. And I obviously suggested to the management maybe you could turn that spotlight off, but I said I know you're not going to do that because that's a security light and you got to have that on. And she said, yeah, we can't really do a whole lot with that, but when I get my own place, I'll be able to make the place dark at night. Hopefully that'll keep them a little bit more under control. But like I said, I thought that was a little interesting and I wanted to show you that. So now you know. And this is the section around the door that doesn't have any weather stripping. You can see it's real dark higher up. But like I said, right down by the ground, there's about a 6-inch area where there's no weather stripping. So I think I'm going to run over to Home Depot today and pick up just a little chunk of weather stripping and fill that section in. Hopefully we can do a better job keeping them out of here. Yeah, those are the friends that are hanging out in that dome. So, we're going to get rid of them. Can you say flush? I can. So I think this is what I'm going to probably get for the weather stripping. I knew I wasn't going to be able to just get 6 or 8 inches of this. I knew I'd have to get like 10 feet of it, but that's the way it goes. This should do the job. I ought to be able to cut a piece of this off and close up that little gap, and hopefully that'll keep the crickets out. So I'm here to kind of put on this extra piece of insulation here on the door. You can see it gets down here about 6 inches from the bottom, and there's just nothing here. That's the gap that I think the crickets are possibly getting in. But in the process of doing that, I'm noticing some other things. This is the bottom hinge on the front door. First off, that's not the right kind of screw. This should be a flush mount screw. And there aren't any screws in the 2 bottom parts of the hinge. That's not how you do that. And I'm also looking at the base plate here. There isn't a screw there. There is one there, but it isn't driven all the way home, so it's not flush. And there's not one over here either. Yeah, sorry guys.
That's not how it's done.
Anyway, I think that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.